Hey everyone, and welcome back to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. This week, we are all about winter guard circuits across the country. We'll find out what made Brian say.
And I always made it my mission to learn their camp dance, and so that was the year that I felt most comfortable. So I made my attempt.
And why Kïrsten said,
or the choreo before and after. It's all about throw.
All this and more on this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Hey everyone, it's Ricardo Robinson Shinall, and we have a great episode this week. We have a great panel, and it's all about circuit leadership and regional innovation in our winter guard systems across the country. But before we see who's on the sidelines this week, go and subscribe on your favorite listening app, write us a review, share this with a friend. And if you have a good question or a good topic to talk about, email us at cast@gmail.com. or find on social media and DM us if you want to be on the show. We even have a form now to fill out if you want to be a guest. So check out the link in our bio. So I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting some amazing people this past weekend at the WGI Circuit Symposium held at the Marriott Hotel in Dayton, Ohio. And I was so excited about these people that I wanted to bring them on the podcast so we could continue discussing what we were discussing over the weekend. So I'm going to start off. Welcome first, Brian Nunez from WGASC, which is the Southern California and Southern Nevada region.
Hey everyone.
We're so glad to have you here, Brian.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And then Arthur Grossman from NTCA, which is North Texas. Hi, Art.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We are so glad that you are here as well.
Thank you for having me. We had a great time this past weekend, so I'm excited to continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Jonathan Brown from PPA, which is in the Seattle region. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We have Kïrsten Miller from MWCGC, which is the Midwest Color Guard Circuit. Kïrsten.
Hey, glad to be here.
Girl, I wish that this was not a listening podcast and it was a visual one because those glasses are so adorable.
Thank you.
And last, and definitely not least, is Lauren Moffatt from Main Guard, which is the Mid-Atlantic region. Lauren, what's going on, girlfriend?
Hi. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad that all of you are here today. And we had such a great time over the weekend being at meetings. And I think the real fun happened outside of the meetings when we all just kind of let our hair down and sat around on the couch and just chatted for hours. So I want to continue some of that, but I want our guests to know a little bit about each one of you. So since you're all new, this is going to be a whole segment of 32 Count Life Stories. For those of you who have not listened to our podcast before, we do this thing. It's called a 32 Count Life Story. You're going to get 8 counts off the Met, and you're going to tell us everything about your life from birth all the way up to today. But you got to get it done in 32 counts or, your timing is going to be off. So I am going to start with my friend Brian. Brian, are you ready for your 32 counts?
I hope so.
All right, here we go. 8 off the Met and go.
All right. I was born in Southern California, moved shortly after to the Bay Area. Where I grew up, I started my band life. As a musician, I was a brass player, went all the way through high school, became the drum major, was in the Blue Devils A Guard, Blue Devils Open Guard, moved to Southern California, was in a color guard called Fantasia. I taught drum major clinic. I went to Le Cordon Bleu, so I'm a trained chef, and now on the admin team with WBA, which is a California State Marching Circuit, and WGASC.
Okay. So my favorite thing about doing these 32 Count Life Stories is because we find out that our guests are onions and we unpeel all of these layers that happen. So okay, the color guard connections and like where you march, that was one thing. I was excited about that. But like you are a trained chef from Cordon Bleu?
Yes.
Okay, so in a side text conversation, I'm just coming to visit so you can cook for me.
I love cooking for people. It's one of my love languages.
Okay, well, I love to eat. So therefore, our friendship just got even deeper.
Perfect, Jerry.
I also saw, this is so funny, Brian, because I know we saw each other in the airport as we were leaving, but then I was on Facebook and this video popped up of you dancing, doing choreography.
Yeah, I taught for about 10 years. I taught leadership and drum major camps. And these camps were held alongside cheer and dance camps. And I always made it my mission to learn their camp dance. And so that was the year that I felt most comfortable. So I made my attempt.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good.
Thank you.
If our listeners follow you on social media after this, I hope they get to see it because it was fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, Art, you know the rules. Are you ready for your 32 count life story?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Jeremy, give me 8 off the Met, please, sir.
Alrighty. I was born and raised in West Michigan. Also, that stressed me out like I needed to initiate on count 1. Born and raised in West Michigan, I went to a teeny little town high school here in West Michigan where I did marching band and met some cool people. I marched a tiny little Division 3 drum corps out of Wisconsin called the Americanos, which is kind of what launched me into the world of drum corps and winter guard and marching band. After that, shortly, I moved to Texas, and I've been in Texas ever since.
I always find it interesting. So you moved from Michigan, where it's perpetually cold, to Texas, where it's blazing hot all the time.
Unbearably hot, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask this question because I know that Brian does in his circuit because California sort of mimics Florida. Is Texas famous for doing like outdoor color guard warm-ups?
Oh, no. No, Texas is 100% indoor. Like, if we don't offer indoor warm-up, like, people will not go to the show.
Oh, okay. See, that's one of the things, like, when I was growing up in my circuit, and I'll talk about myself later, but we didn't have that. And then I moved to Florida, and it's like the thing. But then our guards get used to it here. When we go to WGI, it's always raining, snowing, or 5 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, North Texas has winter. We get snow and ice. We have weekends with ice and everything. So we are...
Good to know. Good to know. Jonathan Brown, sir, it is your turn in the hot seat. Are you ready? Okay, here we go.
I was actually born in Alaska, and I've only lived on the West Coast states, so I'm incredibly Pacific Northwest. I don't know if you can tell that by the way I sound. I didn't do marching band or color guard or dance in high school. I was a choir and theater kid. My brother had done drum corps. I really wanted to do it, and I was like, I can play piano. I can go audition for the front ensemble. Promptly got cut. Went to the color guard director and wanted to join, and he put a rifle and a flag in my hand and told a girl at my high school to teach me. I was awful that first summer. I did 3 summers of Cascades, 2 summers with Blue Devils. I marched 1 winter with Northern Lights, taught Rhapsody from Seattle, we won 2 gold medals. I'm going way over time. Helped start off the Cascadia in Portland, and I've been the circuit president up here quite a few years ago for a decade, and now I'm the new treasurer for a new circuit up here. And I'm a new WGI judge.
Yes. Again, here we go with the onion of the podcast, peeling back these layers. Theater and choir kid. Hi, fellow theater and choir kid. Right here.
Yeah.
Former
I love telling that story
teacher,
of like,
so.
I only started color guard because I got cut from the pit. And people always ask, were you a Madison Scout?
We do love the Madison Scouts, though. Shout out to the boys.
I was taught by many of them.
Back then, they were boys. But you marched with all those people, too, at Northern Lights. Like
like everybody that taught there, or like half of the people that marched there were all Scouts and Cavaliers. And there were just a few of us West Coast kids.
Half were Madison Scouts, half were Cavaliers, and the 2 or 3 of you that were from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. All right, Kïrsten.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Listeners, so as we were prepping and getting into the show, Kïrsten said that the metronome gave her PTSD. So, we're gonna give her thoughts and prayers right now, so she gets through this out without having those flashbacks from marching days. Kïrsten, you ready? Here we go.
I was born outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was there until I was 13, moved to Florida, went to Lake Howell High School, started in band there just by somebody coming over to 8th grade to the middle school saying, hey, listen, do you want to try band? Here's this thing called color guard with a flag. Come on over. My mother didn't want me to, but I went anyway. And then my parents turned into big band boosters. I then went and marched Imagination Winter Guard and then Suncoast Sound. Moved up here 15 years ago to Chicago. There goes my time, told you. And I moved up here to Chicago because of love, and I married a Cavalier.
Yeah. So we got a lot of connections with the Florida thing, which was what part of our conversation and how we started bonding the other day. But I love the fact that you just kind of picked up color guard and just jumped in and did it. That's phenomenal.
My mom did not want me to go, and I got in trouble, but they turned out, which is funny because my mom was in band in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
that's all right.
Okay.
They got sucked in.
It seems like it worked out for the best.
It did.
Kïrsten, you also told me this is another fun thing about you as you, with our connections, is that you were one of the original members when the FFCC first started.
Yeah. So I was there when it all started with the Kïrstens, right? With the whole circuit. So I was right at the beginning of that whole thing. It's interesting to watch how big it's grown. It's great.
It's a huge circuit now. So I'm glad to be a part of it. And look, there's another connection for us right there.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, my friend, you got the gist of it. Are you ready to tell us your 32 count life story?
Sure, I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Here we go.
Okay, so I was born in southeastern Pennsylvania outside of Philly. I still live in the suburbs of Philly. Go Birds. I've basically been around the marching arts my entire life because of my dad's job. So I kind of was raised in it. He was the Zildjian rep forever. And then I started doing color guard in high school and just basically never stopped. I just went and marched Golden Sabres Winter Guard, Grossman, and Magic of Orlando. And then started teaching, graduated with a degree in elementary education, but true story, I don't use it. I own 2 Hallmark Gold Crown stores instead. And then I currently am teaching at Council Rock South High School in southeastern PA. I co-founded a winter guard called Impact in Northern Virginia, taught that for a bunch of years. And then I also teach Madison Scouts in the summer for the last 5 years. I married a Cavalier also. And I've been on the board for Maine, the Mid-Atlantic Indoor Network since 2014.
Yeah. I am in love with the fact that you married a Cavalier and that you teach the Madison Scouts. Like, that's so much fun for me.
It's a lot of fun.
So we're going to get into a whole big conversation about circuits across the country. But first, we want to shout out some of our amazing episodes. We have On a Water Break with Matt Hartloff, Carolina Crown brass leader and star of Indiana Roots, on sound, leadership, and culture. You can find that on YouTube. We have On a Water Break with Alta Maria with Brandy Keaton, and Alta Maria and the University of Alabama Color Guard co-director in show building, identity, and developing performers. We also have A Water Break with Piper Click and Max Marr, 2 standout performers competing at the highest level while growing social presence across our circuits. And I'll be back with my fabulous guest right after this commercial break.
Celebrating its 25th anniversary, Guard Closet was founded as a consignment shop in 2000. Since then, it has grown to become your one-stop shop for the marching arts.
Do you need consignment uniforms and flags for your color guard, marching band, or drumline? We have thousands of sets of consignments in stock and ready to ship.
Do you need show design and custom choreography? Our designers have years of experience in the marching arts.
Do you need to sell your items and clear out your storage areas? We take in more than 600 sets of consignments each year and return hundreds of thousands of dollars to our consigners for their sales.
Do you need to have your students order shoes, gloves, and other equipment? We can set up a microsite for easy student ordering of a wide variety of items.
Do you need custom costumes or flags? We can help get you great designs from our team through top vendors like Showday Designs.
Have you listened to our podcast, On a Water Break? Weekly episodes and bonus content keep you entertained and informed with what's going on in the marching arts.
For over 25 years, Guard Closet has been here to help. Check us out at guardcloset.com or follow us on social media.
And we are back to On a Water Break. This is Ricardo here, and I had the pleasure of being at the WGI Circuit Symposium this past weekend in Dayton. And what the Circuit Symposium is, for you listeners, is where all of the circuit partners are invited to come and have a meeting with WGI so that WGI can discuss initiatives and what it truly means to be a circuit partner. If you want to get a quick gist of what the meeting was about, pop over and look at my quick sip with Bart Woodley, who is the Director of Operations for WGI. But now that I have my friends here who are chatting with me, let's jump into it, guys. First of all, what were your overall takeaways from the meeting?
I loved just hearing what other circuits did. It was validating, right? To hear that some circuits, we shared kind of action items and how we did things. And it was also interesting to hear what other circuits did that maybe we don't do back here at home in Nevada and in California, and it sparked ideas. So I loved that camaraderie and the conversation with people that kind of we all love just supporting our circuits at home.
I like that when we were discussing any kind of topic, it seems to be across the board all over the country. Some of the main issues that are happening is happening across all. And that we were able to talk it through and say, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing that? And really come together as a team.
Yeah, for sure. I think the networking portion of that was probably the biggest thing. Now, don't get me wrong. We'll talk about some of the topics discussed on the agenda, but I think things really started going well in the meeting when we were having those roundtable discussions and people were just straight up asking questions. And we got a new phrase coined for boutique circuits because we have some small circuits like Jonathan's that have a small number of people in them. And our friend Leah Rupert from South Florida, she said, I run a boutique circuit as well. And that was the phrase for the weekend. So, all right, what do you have to say, friend?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I thought the biggest takeaway for me was putting faces with the circuits, because we live in our little cohort of North Texas, and then we all go to WGI and we see people, but Maine, we always hear, oh, Maine, but now we have Lauren as a face. And it was cool to see that there are connections and real people behind the guards and behind the percussion ensembles. And it was just a cool thing to have that, camaraderie of coming together. It was super cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the transparency. I come from a small circuit, a boutique circuit. And so I had a lot of questions and I'm the treasurer. So I'm really concerned with the budget, the bottom line. And I was a little afraid that I would ask these questions and people would keep everything close to their chest and not be willing to share. And I didn't encounter that at all. Everyone was very, very open. And I thought that was really remarkable.
Yeah, definitely the feeling of camaraderie between the circuits, that was super apparent. No one has secrets that there's no gatekeeping happening with anybody. Everybody was just hey, here's how we do it. And I love the fact that, Jonathan, you took the initiative at the meeting to create a Slack group for all of the circuit leaders to jump in and be able to share documents and stuff like that. That type of initiative and leadership and just foresight, I mean, none of the rest of us would have thought of that. And it was okay, now we can actually communicate with each other a little bit more free and with quick answers as opposed to trying to go through all these long channels. So kudos to you, friend.
Thanks. I love a mechanism and a process, and I am incredibly impatient and would rather just do things now.
It's called Color Guard. So, some of the topics on our agenda for the weekend, we started off talking about judge recruitment. And Jonathan, you are a WGI judge. And, we talked about like the process of like trying to have local judges versus WGI judges. One of the biggest things that was said, and I'm gonna, I guess, probably call out just a little bit, but like anytime you have a local judge that gets really good, then they get snatched up by WGI. So let's hear some thoughts on that whole conversation.
I actually was just talking about this with someone this week, someone else in the Northwest, actually the one of the staff for the Oregon Circuit, NWAPA. And I was talking about this topic and that, we can't rely on WGI judges as much for our local circuits. And that problem of like, you're building people. But I was saying, I don't feel like it would have been as much of a problem 20 or 30 years ago because there was enough judges everywhere. There was way more judges on the WGI roster and things like that, and it wouldn't have been an issue. The pipeline has just sort of like thinned and dried up to like create the like, pyramid of getting people to judge and like fill it out the right way. So it's sort of, we shot ourselves in the foot sort of in the last 20 years by not cultivating more local judges so that they can grow and become a WGI judge. And it wouldn't have been a problem if we had plenty of WGI judges and plenty of local judges with the right experience and skills.
Yeah, I think it's crazy because WGI has grown so much. And now are they calling it WGI Plus? Where it's like every regional is 2 days and has double panel. So it's just like a flood of like, give us the best people to judge, which is great because it's the best units and we want the best people judging the best units. But at the local level, it's like, we're dry, there's nothing there, and then in North Texas, we have kind of a stigma, like our circuit doesn't want local people judging them because we're so big and the pool of people teaching is kind of small. So everybody teaches everywhere. So there's I don't want to say a conspiracy theory, but there's people that are worried that, this person works with this group, they're going to score this other group low so they can be higher in the rankings to try to get, to the championships at a better seated place, which is a legit thought, but it's created kind of a difficulty to find people who want to judge, Our judges coordinator, I had a conversation with her. She was saying that, just the perception, people don't want to do it sometimes because they lose friendships over numbers that they give to groups, and people are upset because, they gave somebody, a 65 and last week they got a 66, Yeah.
Yep. I've been there 20 years ago when I was judging, when I first came out and first started judging. That happened to me with a very dear friend. I was judging downstairs and I was judging equipment, and my friend had a varsity guard and a JV guard, and the kids are all trained the exact same way. So the JV guard had a better show. It was a little bit better written for them. And my friend got mad at me because the JV guard had a better equipment score than the varsity guard. And I was like, calling it how I see it, friend. We're still friends today, but I totally get that.
It sounds like WGI has some things coming down the pipeline, right? They'd mentioned some things happening hopefully happening in the future that will help them partner with local circuits to kind of create a larger judging pool. And I think, like to Jonathan's point, there are less judges available, but I think the number of events locally and nationally has expanded so greatly that it's difficult. So hopefully, as WGI rolls out some of these new plans to kind of help support, the judging pool, we'll see a balance kind of happening.
Yeah. Lauren, what about you? Like, I heard you have like a lot of people who think that they're judges. What's up?
Well, I mean, locally, I think actually we're doing a really great job in sourcing judges for our local community, for our circuit. I think that sometimes people get a little bit stuck on they're not WGI, and I think we also talked about the importance of cultivating those local judges. I know, Art, you said you have a problem in Texas, but we talked about this at the meeting, the WGI judge is not always going to be the best person to adjudicate the regional A's and the novices, and even sometimes the A class units that are still developing, and those local circuit judges might be the best people for them because maybe they're a little bit more empathetic. Maybe they know them a little bit better, so they can meet them where they are when they say, oh, well, we've never rehearsed in a gym ever. We just perform in a gym on a Saturday, where sometimes some of the upper level WGI judges don't have that personal connection that those local judges can have. So I think that's really important. But no, honestly, I think our judge coordinator has done an amazing job in trying to get us great local judges, even people. Another thing is, reaching out to circuits around the country and saying, okay, I'll send you 2 people if you send me 2 people. I know he's had great success with that. So you're not getting a WGI judge necessarily, but you're getting 2 of the best and brightest that are maybe up and coming from another circuit. And that helps with the national exposure, but still gives a little bit of local flair. And it also helps those developing judges in your circuit to get some experience with perspective on a national level, not just seeing the guards that you're always used to seeing.
Yeah, that perspective thing plays a huge gambit in what's happening, because you get so stuck in being in your own area, getting outside of that and seeing what's happening in other states. I mean, it's eye-opening a lot of the times.
And you don't know who's who. Like, there's no
loyalties.
I've never heard of this high school.
Yeah. Now, I will say I love having some of our judges that are just local that are judging, because they tend to, especially with the regional A and our lower A classes, because we have in our circuit, we have triple A and double A before you get to national A. And just the feedback is more geared towards the kids, which I personally, as an instructor, love, because we can sit here and we can analyze and we know what's wrong with your show. You know what's wrong with it most of the time, and you have told the kids what's wrong with it a million times, but they tend to only want to listen to somebody else other than you, and they'll say the same things. And I love. I love sometimes the personal messages from judges that go, now I know Ricardo told you this already, but. And they'll say something. So that's a great relationship to have with those judges. I hope that we do get to cultivate more local judges. Still keep that WGI pool big, but cultivate more judges. Kïrsten, what are you guys doing in the Midwest to build your judges and find more judges?
So that's a good question. I don't hear, honestly, I haven't heard anybody talk about judge recruiting here in the Midwest, but I know it's needed. So it's interesting. I do love, Lauren, when you were talking about having local judges switch within circuits, right? I think that's fantastic. I think not only is that good for exposure, but also our circuit has such a small pool of judges that we just keep seeing the same judges every weekend. And we're not getting a whole lot of WGI judges. And that is one of our biggest complaints is we don't hardly see any. I think we saw one
busy.
last year.
They busy. They're keeping up with the WGI schedule.
But I think having a WGI judge every once in a while on, especially the ones that are going to WGI, just to get some feedback of like, hey, how's it looking against what, but when it comes to recruitment, I can't say that it's been pushed a lot because I haven't heard it, at shows or within other directors and staff members, unfortunately. I think that's an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an opportunity for growth for everyone.
Sorry, Random, can I ask, is Kyle Miller your judge coordinator, Kïrsten?
Yes.
I literally emailed him about a gig in your circuit during the symposium.
Well,
he still has this early January date, and I was like, I want to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
And Kyle Miller has just been called out on the podcast for not returning calls.
Hi, Miller.
I just emailed him.
Oh, so one of the biggest topics that we did discuss over the weekend, and this was sensitive for some people, but it was our safety and security at shows. I know that everyone remembers we did have an incident last year where the mass shooting epidemic in America happened on our turf in a color guard gym. And so WGI wanted to make it very clear that their job is to help circuits and help show hosts protect spectators and performers and all of that stuff. And so we did a little bit of active shooter training. We're not going to discuss the details with you on here, but we'll say for myself personally, it was eye-opening. The style in which we did the training, it started off a little rough. I was like, okay, this is a little wild. And then we got into the nitty gritty of it, and it was amazing. And I went back and I told my boss at work, I was like, we need to hire these people to come down and do this training for all of our school district administrators. Because I don't know if all of you are like educators. I'm school district administrator now, but I've been in the classroom forever. And we have to do those active shooter drills and lockdown procedures and all of that stuff. And whereas I know that that's not something I would want to do with kids specifically, as an adult, this type of training really, really, really got me. And it was a different perspective on that. What were you guys' thoughts on that?
I think he wasn't like going by a script, right? He just made it real. He said, this is what happens, and you got to know, and you got to protect yourself. And so do what you need to do. I just really found it was unlike any other training that I've had in the past, where it's, you went by that, even though he had a PowerPoint, he didn't go by that PowerPoint. He went and told real life stories and real stories of what happened in our country and around the world with shooters. It was eye-opening sometimes. I was stunned sometimes.
Stunned several times, just stunned, but not in a freak out way stunned, just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it without telling everyone like what really went down.
It was like a reality check.
That's it. That's the best way to put that. It was a reality check.
I think too, just the situational awareness that we talked about a lot. I think that was really, really helpful. Like, okay, here's a pop quiz. Like, do you know where all the exits are right now? And I think all of us got that wrong, right? We all thought we knew. Oh, you knew. Okay, good for you.
I had it. And I also said that the doors opened to the outside.
That part I knew, yes.
We were more vulnerable in that room.
And I think you can apply that. I think that where he had us close our eyes and kind of put ourselves in a place, I think that was really helpful. And that's something we can use in our own venues when we run events. So it's like, okay, go into this venue and let's look around and let's walk the venue and talk about where our vulnerable points are and how can we best protect them. So I think that was really invaluable, I think, for our events and quite frankly, our everyday life. Even though we did miss Dave Chappelle when he was 20 feet away from us in the restaurant. We're all bragging about how situationally aware we were and then found out Dave Chappelle was 20 feet away from us. So there you go.
Awesome. So another big initiative from WGI this year is the rollout of the Participant Protection Plan. We had a lot of conversation with Dr. Will Frankenberger over the weekend about how that's rolling out. For those of you who are not in the WGI world, but you've probably heard the term Safe Sport before. Safe Sport has been the platform that all of the pageantry arts have used to educate the members and the staff members on abuse and best practices in many different aspects of the activity. This past year, both DCI and WGI decided that they were going to roll out their own versions of those that were more geared specifically towards the pageantry arts. I had to take the DCI one at the beginning of the summer before I went on tour, and I'm about to get ready to take the WGI version so that I can be prepared for my independent color guards that I teach. What were some takeaways that you guys grabbed from those conversations with Will?
I want to jump in because I have sort of a segue from the previous one to this one. I do learning design or instructional design for work at Amazon. And the training that we went through, he was a great presenter, but the slides were killing me. Like so many different serifed fonts and just like the look of it, I was like, what is going on? Like just alignment on things. I'm like, you need a details person. I also would say an area of opportunity for him would have been, it felt like the training was about our safety. I really would have liked more like organizational safety thinking. Like, how do we as an organization create that plan and give us those tools? I thought that would have been more helpful. In contrast, I thought Will's content that he's created, that like for the participant training and for the best practices guides, so much better, so clear, very easy to understand. And I've done the 3P participant protection program training already, and it's great. It's much shorter, but makes so much more sense for our activity.
Yeah, following Jonathan, I loved the guides that they offer, and also even when they were talking about, if you have a guard mom who's helping with costumes, that person has to also go through those trainings. And I think having kind of those guidelines is going to help us offer those guidelines to our, members at their own circuits. And I think it's going to just make everyone a lot safer and more aligned with, how we need to set up things for our kids, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I was chatting with one of my friends. I feel like our generation's kind of the in-between generation. Like when we marched, it was like beat people down and, rough and tough and crazy and no water breaks. And, it was that. And then we kind of took that with how we taught kids, but then we've now transitioned into it's safe and we need to provide an educational environment and make kids feel valued and all of those things. So it's cool to see the curve that it has taken. I have been teaching for 20 years now, and students that I taught 20 years ago will come back to shows and they'll talk to kids that I teach now, and they're like, "Oh, this is a different person." And I am. It's like I've learned a lot. So it's kind of cool. It's cool that the activity's growing.
My staff has always been former students, and it's so funny to me because they say, "Oh my God, you baby these kids now. You used to abuse us." And I was like, "Gosh, you can't say that I abused you." They're like, "You abused us. Like mentally, we were abused. They said, we have this bond because we all trauma bonded over being in rehearsal." And I was like, see, that makes me feel awful. And I'm glad that I know better so that I can do better.
I think we've all grown, right? I mean, what you did when you first started teaching would not go for what today is with these kids these days, right? So you have to be able to bend and mold and shift gears all the time and learn from your past and learn from others. And I think that's the biggest thing too. Listen to how other instructors are teaching, because no matter how long you've been teaching, you could pick up great nuggets of information and techniques.
Yep, absolutely. I will say this. Dr. Will Frankenberger was talking about how people can submit their grievances, I guess you could say, or situations or whatever to WGI. One of the things that they're doing now is they took out the anonymity from everyone. So you can't just post and say, this person is bad and they did this, or this person is terrible, but you don't name yourself so they can follow up, because they are actually doing the work to research these things and check in, and they're investigating and doing all this stuff. But I laughed so hard because he talked about it cut back on the number of people who were sending in messages like, this instructor is terrible because they cut me from the saber solo. I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I was like, I'm sure he probably had hundreds of kids that were mad because they did not get to finish their show on the 50 and they were in a back corner or behind a prop because they got cut because they couldn't do the toss. I'm like...
Yeah, it's funny how kids will, think they can use that. But I also think it's our responsibility as instructors, directors, leadership to explain to them what the lines just like at work, what is, when you have a problem with this, when you go to this person to go to this person instead of, because a lot of them think that WGI regulates every circuit and every guard. They don't.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
So I think that's also like a misperception among members, perhaps, but lines of, communication and who they need to go needs to be stressed as well.
Yeah. All right. So before we end this part of the discussion, is there anything, let's just go roundtable, something, your greatest takeaways from the meeting, something that you would have liked to have talked, something you would have liked to spoken on at the meeting, anything wrapping this up? Jonathan, I'll start with you.
I think it was just sort of like what Art said earlier, like putting faces to names and feeling like there's a network and communication is now open. I've posted some things in the Slack. Nobody has responded or looked at it yet, so I'm hoping they'll start using it a bit more soon. But just that, like, it feels like now I know people to reach out to.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have our friend group text now too, so there's that. Laura, what about you?
I think that's the most invaluable part, is just being able to talk to each other. And like Jonathan said, just getting that contact information. And also it helps to hear, you always hear rumors about WGI is going to do this, WGI is going to do that. And hearing that from the horse's mouth, as it were, and then being able to ask questions and everybody is getting the same information at the same time, so there's no rumors, we're all on the same page. And if we want to challenge them or ask additional questions, we are there in that moment to do so. So that's part of also why I think it's really so invaluable that they do this.
Yeah, literally in the room where it happens. That was kind of my takeaway from the whole thing, is like being here and being able to voice opinions and not be judged by anything. But, sometimes they don't know. Like, WGI is responsible for the thing that WGI is. We are the grassroots movements in each area of the country that's kind of developing and pushing those groups into WGI. But our problems are different than WGI problems. And WGI doesn't know what our problems are if we don't get to tell them our problems. So I thought that the meeting was valuable for that. Kïrsten, your takeaways?
I think that we should have more of the roundtable. That was the best part of it all for me, and maybe do like some mini groups and have different topics and then come together, but don't have it in tables, but maybe in a round, or
literally in the round.
Right, literally. I think that's the best way, because I can go talk to Brian or Art or Lauren or Jonathan and say, hey, this is going on in our circuit. Do you have it in your circuit? And just having that roundtable we threw off so many different topics. It was great. I was like writing like crazy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
My notes were going crazy too. Brian?
I'm going to echo what everyone has said about the networking. I loved it. I love that we were able to network and kind of do the larger roundtable, but I also hope in the next time that we are fortunate enough to do this meeting, that we can also include, like Kïrsten was saying, those smaller roundtables where we can be a little bit more intimate and maybe even feel a little bit more comfortable talking and asking questions or bringing up topics. I'm also really excited about the potential expansion and support that's going to be offered by the WGI circuit membership as opposed to the partnership. I think there's a lot of potential opportunity for the circuits to be able to support WGI from our local geography, but also for WGI to hopefully support the local circuits as well. So I'm excited about the potential for that, for sure.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to be hopefully a place of growth for our entire activity.
Yeah.
Art?
I think my biggest or my favorite part of the whole thing, we didn't have to debate policy, because so many times we get in these meetings, it's like, well, I think that the open class should have X, Y, we didn't have to do that. Like, it was just healthy conversations with intelligent people who are passionate about the activity on how we can make our circuits stronger, how we can make our circuits grow, how we can make the community better to better serve the entire country, which was really cool, and I didn't have to be the bad guy and, run a circuit meeting and, tell people they couldn't vote on certain things and all that stuff. So that was probably my favorite takeaway. So
yeah, all right. You said community, and when I was talking to my boss and giving her like a little rundown on Monday about what went on, I said, as someone who is now working in school district leadership, and my focus has stopped being on I need to do everything I can to make my one program better. I now have to think about what's making the entire organization better. And I think that this meeting was one of those situations where no one was in the room for personal gain or to lobby for their circuit or anything. It was literally, how can we collectively as a community come together for the greater good of the activity? So it was a top-notch weekend. I got to meet cool new people, and they're on this podcast with me. But we are going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back in a few minutes with On a Water Break.
Hi, everyone. It's time for your travel tip of the week with me. I'm Beth with Peak Group Travel. Performance tours are a great way to showcase your ensemble in new cities and for new audiences. But be sure to also include local attractions and sightseeing tours or cruises to give your group a full cultural experience while they're on the road. Don't forget to like and follow Peak Group Travel on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And be sure to email info@peakgrouptravel.com when you're ready to start planning your next performance tour. This is your travel tip of the week with me, Beth from Peak Group Travel. Ready to elevate your travel game? Welcome to Peak Group Travel, the ultimate adventure creators. Whether you're planning an unforgettable class trip, a once-in-a-lifetime parade experience for your marching band, or a choir tour full of memorable performance venues, Peak Group Travel handles it all, so you can focus on making memories. From breathtaking international destinations to amazing adventures right here at home, Peak Group Travel customizes every journey to your vision. We're not just planners, we're your partners for the trip you want for your students. Our online registration portal makes managing your pre-trip experience smooth and convenient. We even collect your payments if you'd like. Picture it, effortless planning, unmatched experiences, and smiles that last long after the journey ends. That's the Peak Group Travel difference. And if you choose to partner with Peak on your next tour, and you mention that you heard about us on the On a Water Break podcast, you'll earn a $100 trip credit. Discover why groups everywhere trust Peak Group Travel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and be sure to visit peakgrouptravel.com today. You pick the date, and we'll make it great.
Okay, everyone, we are back, and it is time for 60-second tech block. 60-second tech block. 60-second tech block! It never gets old. This is a segment where one of our hosts or guest clinicians is put on the spot to deliver a non-stop 60-second tech session on a topic that needs some serious attention after the last run. Our special tech this week has come prepared with 3 topics that they think they can talk about for a full 60 seconds straight. No hesitation, no pauses, just pure technical gold. And this week, let's see, I think we're going to throw it over to Jonathan.
Amazing. We'll see how it goes.
Jonathan, you said that your best topics were what boutique circuits need to know, the difference between sickling and winging your feet, what boutique circuits do better than everyone else. Okay, so everybody, give me your thoughts. What do you think that Jonathan should talk on today?
What boutique circuits do really well?
Okay.
Bougie boutiques.
Yeah, I want to know what they do better than everybody else.
Yeah, what makes them better?
Yeah, I personally know about the difference between sickling and winging feet because sickled feet literally make me throw up. But I am so on this boutique circuit situation right now because we have coined this phrase this week, and we need to shout out Leah Rupert for this because she trademarked that term. So, Jonathan, I think that I'm going to vote on what do boutique circuits do better than everyone else? Is everyone else in agreement with me on that?
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is how we're going to do this. Brian, will you do me a favor and pull up a 60-second timer on your phone and let me know when you are ready?
How about a stopwatch?
Perfection. All
I'm
right.
ready.
Okay. Jonathan, you ready?
Sure, we'll see how it goes.
Here we go. 60-second tech block and go.
All right, what boutique circuits do better, because we have such a smaller scale, there is more of a sense of, color guard, everyone knows everyone. But when there's only 18 teams at circuit championships, it's less about everyone knows everyone and more that everyone has marched with everyone. Everyone has known people for a decade. Like our community is very tight knit. I think that we do a good job, or we have done a good job in different times at really supporting our teams individually with education. Like, yeah, we've done clinics and things like that, and we have performer tracks and instructor tracks, and judge training is going on at the same time. But one thing that I really enjoyed that we did that really helped turn the corner for some units was doing something we called pre-critique. So during that day that we would do a clinic with everybody, we would set a chunk of time for instructors to come in, to come in to talk to the judges about what their show was going to be and show us whatever.
Oh, 60-second tech block.
I don't know if I got everything.
60-second tech block! That was great, though. I feel like I understand now what boutique circuits do better. Completely agree with that.
Thank you. I didn't get to finish my thought, but the pre-critique thing that we did was a way for us to, like in December, help steer perhaps the 19-year-old first-time designer doing Firebird with their regional A-Guard. So it was just a way for us to help point people in the right direction.
Yeah, agree with that. And I think more people need to get on that bandwagon with the pre-critique, because I have seen in the message boards people asking for show ideas, or they put out their show idea in the group, and it's like, girl, don't do that. Do not do that.
Yeah. They need to look at what's on the floor. Who do you have? Yeah.
I feel like in a boutique circuit, you can just go up to your friend and be like, hey, girl, that I know you thought that was going to be cute, but it was not. It was not.
That's very, very true.
So that was a solid 60-second tech block. Hopefully someone out there just got the tech advice that they didn't know they needed. I know I did. But now it's time to switch things up. It's time for everyone's favorite. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah, this is the part of the show where we let loose just a little bit, or maybe a lot. This is your chance to rant about something in the marching arts that just doesn't make sense. Maybe it's a tradition that needs to go. Maybe it's a habit that performers can't seem to break. Maybe it's something that makes you think, why are we even doing this? Or why haven't we started doing this yet? Whatever it is, this is your moment to call it out. So who's got something they need to get off their chest? Lauren, what are we doing?
So I have something that's a what are we doing? It's a little bit different. My question is, what are we doing to encourage our current performers to become future color guard educators? Because I feel like even personally, I feel like there's not enough that we're doing. And I think that all feeds into that whole judge recruitment problem that we were talking about, because there's actually an instructor shortage also. So I think that coming out of this weekend too, I've been thinking about, like, how can we try to think about encouraging our current performers to want to be an instructor and to give them some more tools. You know, I know personally when I teach, I will talk to the kids about, hey, like, this is why we do this. And it's not, I don't think I'm doing enough. I don't think that anybody's doing enough. And so what are we doing to make that better?
Amen. I've said this before. When I started teaching at the school that I was at for a very long time, there were no other instructors around. It was hard for me to bring in techs. And so I just decided one day, I was like, you know what? I have to teach my kids to be teachers because I need to breed my own staff. And so The easiest way for anyone who's ever thinking about doing that is one, letting them teach each other the basics, let the older classmen teach the younger ones. And if you have a JV guard, let those kids that are in the varsity guard be your tech staff. So your tech staff can tech the varsity, your varsity kids can tech the JV. And we even had a cadet guard that was elementary kids. And so we let those kids who were second year members in that JV guard go teach the cadet kids. And so there is a pipeline coming that's going to last for years where kids will come out of the program and they will come back and teach again or go teach somewhere else. Everybody needs to be doing that. Everybody. All right, Brian, it's your turn to tell us, what are we doing?
What are we doing with our wonderful, hardworking team still working and fighting so hard to get rehearsal space that is safe for their bodies, that allows them to practice their productions in a way where they're not fighting the wind and not getting kicked out because it's other athletic team or whatever else is happening on campus. We don't want more space. We just want equal space. Let it as good as we can by working in safe, productive areas.
So we have this panel, this round panel from across the country. What are other circuits doing? Because I know in Florida, most of our color guards rehearse outside. We are outside in the wind, the rain, the mosquitoes after the sun goes down, the dark. Usually my run-throughs were always after the sun went down, so there was no tossing that could happen. What are y'all doing at other places to make up for this lack of space?
Relationship with other schools. Scholastic have a little bit more easier up here because they can get into their gyms. And a lot of our schools up here have multiple gyms. So sometimes they're in a little multi-use space that could have been a cafeteria that is also they can use. But it's harder for independent groups to find schools that perhaps don't have a color guard or a gym big enough, or if there's a couple of them that have a couple guards, they want them in one space, but also the cost is outrageous.
Lauren, what are you guys doing in the Mid-Atlantic?
Yeah, we just all have to fight for space, and there's not enough of it. And so it's a real challenge. There's a few teams in our circuit that have dedicated rehearsal space that they get, maybe in the gym once or twice a week. And everybody else is really, really, really fighting. It's not uncommon for color guards in our area to have to rehearse in the cafeteria, and maybe the ceiling isn't even tall enough. Or, my team last year, we had to start at the other end of the building for the first hour and then transition across the building. We were only allowed in the gym for 2 hours at a time. And, it's disheartening when our students feel like they're less than those that play athletics. I think that's the message that a lot of our students get. That's not being said overtly, but I think it's really difficult across the whole circuit. Not speaking about my team individually, but across the whole circuit. And what Kïrsten said about independent teams, rehearsal space has gotten really expensive. Actually, that was our solution last year. We had to rent gym space because we couldn't get into our own gyms. So
wow,
it's been a real challenge. So fundraising is important.
I'll say, on the scholastic level, I think in Texas we're a little bit more blessed than a lot of people because most of our color guard educators are district employees, and the districts have invested in color guard in North Texas, unlike a lot of places in the country. But I guess one really big piece of advice that I would give people, and I had a mentor teach me this, and it's as simple as go to the coaches and learn their names and speak to them by their name. Yes, I knew all of our basketball coaches. I would walk into the gym and say, "Hey, Brent, when are you guys done?" And oftentimes our basketball coach, "Oh, we're supposed to finish at 6, but they're just kind of shooting around. I can have them move, into the weight room or something. Do you guys want to start?" So we developed a personal relationship with the coaches. And I think that sometimes color people get afraid to assert themselves and to actually put themselves into the conversation on their campus.
Yeah.
Go to the principal, introduce yourself, don't be afraid of the people that you work with on the campus because they want to know you. And I think that's the biggest thing is they want to know you. The principal wants to know who is in their building. So learn people's names. That's the biggest thing with my mentors. Call everybody by their name. When you get on the bus, say, "Hi, my name is Art. What's your name?" to the bus driver. And then you have a personal relationship with people. So
absolutely. Art, since you were just talking, guess what? It's your turn to tell what are we doing?
What are we doing throwing 7 sit roll tosses in regional A class? I had to do push-ups in the gravel on the hot parking lot when my technique wasn't strong, and we've moved away from that, and we're protecting our performers now, which I'm supportive of. But I feel like our technique has kind of gone to the back burner in the hopes of attempting a skill that we think is going to get us more points. So I guess that's what are we doing things that we shouldn't be doing when we need to teach kids how to do thumbs up, thumbs down, taking one from Kïrsten earlier.
Yes.
I am so sick of it. I am so sick of kids that cannot throw a double trying these tosses, and it's like the nastiest ugly dip and shoulders all down, and then the equipment's looking like a flopping fish in the air, and they're doing all this stuff, and then they're like barely catching with one hand, or the floor gets half of the catch for them, and they're like, this is great. And I'm like, don't put that in your show. If that's not a skill that you have mastered and you look good doing, girl, don't do it. Don't do it.
They can't even do any of the prep into it or the choreo before and after. It's all about throw. Where's the musicality? I don't know. It's gone. You just took mine, Art. I was going on that one, but I have another one. But yeah, how many tosses can we throw in a show too?
That.
And it's actually better than it used to be. Do you remember, like, it was like close to a decade ago? I swear to God, WGI sent an email saying TossFest shows do not equal more points because it had sort of like peaked. It's like, oh.
I think that's gotten away. I mean, there was one show where I counted. There was 48 tosses.
Like ensemble tosses are just out from one kid?
Yes.
Oh my God. No, y'all. No. Write a phrase. Write a phrase. Make phrases great again.
I think one of the challenges with the tricks that the kids want to learn is, they see them on social media and they go, oh, and like that's what fires them up and that's what gets them interested in color guard. But then our job as their staff and their instructors is to say, oh, you want to do this trick? That's awesome. Here's the steps that we need to take. I have kids that all the time, I want to do this. And I'm like, great. You want to throw this 45 toss and this is your second day of color guard. We're going to go through these steps. And once you can do this, show me this and show me this. And then they do, and they eventually get there. And yes, it takes a lot of hard work and it takes time, but I think that's our job to guide them and not just go, okay, go ahead and try it, but you can be a backyard buddy and try to learn that trick, and I think that's a safety thing too with training.
Absolutely. And I don't think we talk about that enough. That is one of the ways that I have always tried to approach it with my kids. It's like, I need you to be safe first and understand how the weight and flow of all of this equipment stuff works in order to be able to do that. Because I don't need you getting yourself injured. I'm not trying to fill out all that paperwork. I don't want to do it.
A way I tell the kids especially because I am all about technique. I love teaching technique, cleaning technique. Love it. I always say that your technique is your foundation of your house. You cannot build your house on a weak foundation, and that is your technique. Yep. You can't do those tosses if you don't know how to just do a regular drop spin and do it correctly. You keep your elbows in. All that basic stuff that they think is boring is actually developing them to do that.
Yep.
That big, all tricky stuff. So I'm like, before you can build your house, you have to build your foundation, and your foundation is your technique.
Absolutely. Jonathan, it's your turn, friend. What are we doing?
I mean, speaking of technique, I'm going back to the topic I did get to do. What are we doing not teaching children the difference between a sickle and a wing with your foot? Like, it's just, I mean, I get it. Like, you want them to leap and all of that. And like, yeah, it's fine. But like, not all points are created equal. Like, there's a difference between this this and that, right? Teach your kids what coup de pied is. Like, make them wrap their foot around their ankle. Like, you can look it up. There's videos on YouTube. But the most egregious part of it is that I see, like, world-class guards. I'm a movement judge. I see world-class guards. They have fantastic feet most of the time. They roll in and out of the ground. It's like they forgot how to point their feet. I don't know. Like, I see it from cadet guards up to world guards. It's just like, you look fantastic the rest of the time. Why can't you do it here? Anyways.
Every time I go into some color guards and I'm like, why do you look so pretty doing everything else? And then you look like you have dead fish on the bottom of your legs when you roll in the ground. It makes me, I throw up every time I see it.
Once upon a time, I would cut a rep if I saw sickled foot. I'd be like, nope, cut. If I see any sickled feet, we going back. They got rid of those sickled feet in 1 week because they were so sick of resetting.
We all need to take that stand. You know what? The rep is done. If you can't point your toes, girl, no, man, we're starting over.
It's a new shirt I'll bring to WGI. No sickled feet.
That, like,
Old Lady Flag Club.
The phrase, not all points are the same. I wish that I had known that one when I was still in the classroom teaching dance every day, because I would have made a t-shirt with that on there. Kïrsten, last but not least, tell us, what are we doing?
All right. So this one is completely different. What are we doing about administration saying that color guards are ruining their gym floors? And what are we doing about protecting those floors and the cost of rubber mats and carpet mats? And what are we doing? Like my flagpole is not ruining your gym floor.
With its rubber
Have y'all
stoppers.
looked at what that basketball people are doing? What are we doing about?
I love how basketball coaches and athletic directors are like, look at my imported Venetian hardwood floors that were sourced from a mountain high in the Alps. And I'm like, girl, it's a wood floor. And this color, now Sabres, baby. I have seen a little Sabre injury to a floor. I ain't gonna lie about that. But you know what? Sit down. Child, this stuff is not hurting that floor. That floor is fine. If your floor is so delicate that color guard equipment is damaging it, you need to find better floors.
Well, and especially when the girls' basketball coach is in heels at the playoff game.
Right. Stomping around and shouting and cutting up. I can say that because my best friend was the girls' basketball coach, and she shared the gym with me, though, so it was all good.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
All right, we got that off our chest. So let's get to Gush and Goes. This is your chance to shout out something awesome happening in your life, marching arts related or not. Maybe you're excited about a performance, a student success, a circuit success, a big life event, or just something cool you want to brag about. No negativity here, just pure, unfiltered hype. So who's got something to gush about? Lauren?
So I'm really excited about the high school team that I teach because this year we have 9 out of 19 kids are brand new. And we've been working really hard with them, not just on their skills, but also in anytime you have that many new kids come in, it's hard to keep your culture the same because there's that half of them are. So we've been working really hard and we've had some bumps in the road, which I anticipated, but I feel like we're kind of coming around the corner there. And so I'm really proud of them that they're establishing and starting to maintain that culture that we need in order to be successful, because we insist on positivity and supporting each other at all times. And there's some of the freshmen are really starting to get that. And so that's really exciting to see.
Fabulous. Brian, what are we gushing and going about?
I'm going to gush about the Blue Devils Special Needs Guard that I get to be a part of. We have, I am fortunate enough to be part of one of 3 special needs color guards that Blue Devils produce. And the one I get to work with, we're getting ready to start our 2nd season in just a few weeks in Westlake Village. And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Food for the soul. It's amazing. So I'm really excited about doing that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Art?
Mine's a little opposite. I'm super fortunate. This is my first year not in the classroom.
Same.
Yes. I have taught a high school or an independent guard for the last 20 years. And this is my first time ever not teaching. So I didn't do a band camp this year. I didn't, not sweat in a parking lot. Me and my amazing boyfriend, Luis, are getting to live like a normal life, like where we go to the farmer's market and, like sleep in on Saturday and like that type of stuff. But on the flip side of that, I get to actually focus on doing a lot more things for the circuit and, like focus on building a better website and doing cool podcasts with cool people and, being on that side of things. So it feels like the progression, I've come out of the trenches. So super, super fortunate for that.
Love that. I'm right there with you, friend. It's been nice, especially as hot as it is in Florida. I have not felt bad about coming home and enjoying my air conditioning every day. Jonathan.
I kind of mentioned it in my 32 count life history, but I'm on the WGI judges roster this next season, and I'm super excited about it. Thank you. And I'm not saying it in like a hair flip kind of way. I'm saying it because I worked really hard for the last decade to try to get better at it because I view my role as a judge as helping color guards. Like I want everyone to be successful, and it let me, travel all over. And like I tried to expose myself to lots of different types of color guards around the country. But it's sort of, to me, judges are the biggest nerds for the activity. Like we're the ones that are like, sure, I'm done teaching, but I still want to spend every weekend sitting in a gym watching 72 color guards. Like you guys, leaving for this block. I am here the whole day. Judges are the biggest nerds for the activity. So just remember that in a critique sometime, that we're here because we love this activity and are obsessed with it just as much as you are.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Kïrsten, what are you gushing about?
Well, I'm kind of like Art. I've just stepped down out of the executive director of Color Guard just in May, and I'm trying to find my footing on where I want to be and what I want to do next with the passion of Color Guard, DCI, whatever. So right now, I'm just enjoying sleeping in on Saturdays, not worrying about where the tarp needs to be, social media posts, all that kind of stuff right now. I'm just enjoying that and going on little vacations with my husband. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations. So I'm going to gush, and I know that this is like terrible and cheesy, but I'm going to gush about the fact that I got to meet all of you just a few days ago. And I feel like now I have new besties that I can check in with and make sure that everything's going well. So I am appreciative that the activity continues to keep giving and giving and giving and introducing wonderful people into my life. So yeah, that's what I'm gushing about.
It's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Thanks everyone for a great rehearsal this week, and thank you everyone who was spending time with us today. So friends, I want you to tell our listeners where we can find you on social media or your circuit. Lauren?
So you can find Maine at Facebook and Insta. It's at Maine Color Guards. And you can also email us at maincolorguards@gmail.com. If you have a question, you can find me on Facebook and Insta, Lauren Moffatt Burns on Facebook, and at Lauren M78 at.
Love it. Brian.
WGASC can be found on Facebook at WGASC, Instagram at the WGASC, and our website is WGASC.org.
Cool deal. Art?
NTCA is on all the platforms. It's at NTCA Online. Our website is ntca-online.com. And my personal is Arthur JUHL on Instagram and Facebook.
Cool deal. All right. Jonathan.
Sorry, the button to unmute myself disappeared. You can find my circuit at pacificperformingarts.org, on Instagram, Pacific Performing Arts, and on Facebook, Pacific Performing Arts. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, just my full name, Jonathan J. Brown. It's Jonathan with an O. I love, however, that none of us is saying TikTok because we were all born in the 1900s. All we have is Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I have a TikTok, but I don't ever get on there anymore, except for when Jeremy sends me videos and it's like, look at this. Kïrsten, where can we find you?
Sure. You can find Midwest Color Guard Circuit at midwestcolorguardcircuit.org. They're on Instagram and Facebook. And then Kïrsten Miller, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. TikTok, I'm the same. I never get on it unless my husband sends me a TikTok.
I think that's pretty much all of us from the 1900s. But thank you guys again for being here. Listeners, if you've got a question or a good topic to talk about, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media and DM us if you want to be on the show. We even have a form now for you to fill out if you want to be a guest. We love having people on the podcast, like these amazing people that came and joined us today. So check that out at our link in the bio on our social media. You can just take out your phone, make a video, and send it to us, and maybe you'll see yourself on the podcast soon. And you can tell us where to find you. One more thing. Don't forget, we have a YouTube channel now, so go and subscribe so you can see us all there. And before you close out your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Kïrsten Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.